Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Are you ready for another dynamic talk by America's #1 personal wealth coach and millionaire maker? Well, get your pen and paper ready to take notes. Without further ado, Bruce A. Berman.
Thank you. This session is all about sales. Every day, almost every word out of your mouth involves sales. Most people don't even realize that. Sometimes sales is about selling a product and making money. And sometimes sales, it's a defensive sales tactic to get the best deal. And sometimes sales is just selling someone on what you want to do. For example, if you want to take off from work to play golf, you need to sell your boss on the reasons why he should let you go. If you're married and you'd like to spend a day at the ball game with your friends, you may try to sell your spouse or significant other on this idea. When you go to buy or sell a car, you need defensive sales skills to get the best deal possible, or you'll be taken advantage of by the car salesman. If you want to get a raise at your job, you need to sell your boss that it is in his best interest to give it to you. You are in sales whether you realized it or not. Now that you realize every aspect of your life is about selling, I want to help you get better results. By attending this seminar and later listening to the audio CD of the seminar, you will learn better ways to promote your ideas and understand the needs and wants of others and get people to listen to and agree with your point of view. You will learn how to sell services or products directly to customers or to businesses. And if you're like me, you will want to use these skills to sell your significant other on everything you want to do. I'm Bruce Berman, and I've been selling since I was in grade school, and I have always made a lot of money in sales. I started with paper routes and yo-yos. Throughout the years, expanded to sell automobiles, van conversions, equipment leases, real estate, investments, oil wells. I have bought, financed, sold, or taken thousands of businesses public, and much more. I started my first multi-million-dollar idea at age 23, and I've made millions of dollars throughout the years using the techniques I outline in my program. Not only have I bought and sold properties and businesses, I have mentored many of my clients who became very wealthy from my techniques. I'm going to share with you the methods that have worked for me and countless others. I can teach you how to sell. Yes, I can teach you how to sell. You will learn the skills you need, which will help you get what you want. Are you an upbeat person who exudes confidence? If you're not, you will learn how to be an outgoing, upbeat person. All of you can be upbeat and exude confidence. It takes a lot of work to be depressed. Did you know that it takes over 25 times the muscles in your face to frown than smile? Okay, let's do a little experiment here. Everyone frown and scowl and give me that angry, depressed loser look. Now hold it. Okay, relax. That took some work. It takes a lot of work to look like a loser. In order to be successful in sales, you need to exude confidence. You need to look, feel, and act like a winner. Can you deal with rejection? You'll have to get used to it, because all salespeople will be rejected at times. No pain, no gain, right? Wrong. Well, I don't believe there's such a thing as rejection, because rejection is not rejection. Rejection is not rejection. If I ask someone for an order and I don't get it today, it's not rejection. I say to myself, this is an opportunity to come back later and get either a sale and or a possible referral for a sale. That makes it not a rejection. And finally, do you have a passion for the products or services that you want to sell? If not, you may need to sell something different, because you have to believe in what you're selling to be effective. I believe in myself and I believe in my products. That's why I can stand in front of thousands of people, appear on television, radio, and the internet, and sell my products. I am a winner. I look like a winner. I act like a winner. I say I'm a winner. And most importantly, other people say I'm a winner. Referrals and testimonies are key to sales. If I got up here dressed and looked like a failure and exuded fear, no one would be here today. Let's talk about the sales uniform. Whatever you are doing in sales, there's a uniform. Let's take the defensive sales, like going out to buy a new car. When I go out to buy a new car, I want to wear the most comfortable clothes I can. Buying a car and getting a good deal involves spending at least 1 to 2 hours alone at just one car lot. I don't care if you're buying a $10,000 used car or a $100,000 car. There is 5 to 10% in negotiating defensive sales. 5 to 10% room on most cars. That's $500 to $10,000 just for an hour or two's work. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but I think that's a good pay for an hour's work. Just learning defensive sales techniques at this seminar or from your mentor can pay for itself in 1 hour alone. Now, let's say you're selling gym equipment. I don't need to see a guy who looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger selling me equipment, but I'm not going to buy a treadmill from someone who is 100 pounds overweight, their shirt untucked to hide their bulging stomach, and their top button of their shirt unbuttoned because they can't tie their tie around their neck anymore. Kind of like a Norm on Cheers. Now add in a cigarette hanging out of their mouth. It's not going to happen. I expect to see someone dressed in well-fitting, clean, trendy clothing. I think you're getting the drift here. Make sure your appearance exudes the success you are trying to obtain. Dress and feel like a winner. One of the most important things to remember is that no matter what you may hear, great salespeople aren't just born. They are made. They know how to listen to what their customers really want, close a deal, and make and keep more money. Remember, it's not what you make that counts. It's what you keep that counts. People don't want to be sold something. They want to buy it. What this means is that when you are promoting your product, service, ideas, or objectives, you have to get your customers to think it's their idea, why they should purchase the product and not your idea. The best salespeople are confident. They can bond with their prospects and put them at ease. I'm going to show you what it takes to transform you into the greatest salesperson that's inside of you. I will discuss important things to remember so that you can convince people why your product, service, or idea is something they must have. I will show you how to nurture relationships so that you can have repeat business from customers as well as referrals. I'll teach you how to build sales to help you make more money. And this program isn't just for salespeople. It's for anyone who wants to be a more persuasive communicator or who wants his business to grow. I will discuss the focus method of success that has helped me to make millions of dollars. That's focus. F for find, O for organize, C for communicate, U for understand, and finally, S for sell. Find, organize, communicate, understand, and sell. Success in 5 easy-to-remember steps. Let's get started. Step 1, find. The focus method really works. Remember this word and what it stands for. You can't succeed for very long if you don't know how to focus on your objectives. So let's start with F for find. How do you find and cultivate prospects who want to buy what you have to sell? I'll review ways to get leads, referrals, and appointments, and the processes for following through and networking, etc. First, I'll talk about putting yourself out there to meet people, and then I'll discuss other approaches. You should take advantage of all opportunities to connect with people. People who may become your customers or know someone who might be your customer. It's the same kind of action you should take if you wanted to meet someone to date. Sitting behind a phone and making your daily calls will get some results, but you also have to force yourself to think of every opportunity as a new way to sell. Every new person you meet is a potential contact. So where do you meet these people? The answer is everywhere. Through friends and through friends of friends. They're people you meet at church or at your kid's soccer game or at line in the grocery store, coffee shop, the Elks Club. You meet them at community organizations or activities. You meet them at networking events, in your industry, in the bookstore, at the gym. The next time you go to your son, brother, or friend's sporting event, or someplace where you're going to see the same people week after week, strike up a conversation. Make it a point to go out of the way to talk to someone you wouldn't normally speak to. Find something you can discuss to help connect. Maybe they're wearing a t-shirt with the name of the city you've just been to. Ask them how they like the city. Start up a conversation. Or maybe they're reading a book. Ask them what they think of the book. The important thing is that you must get out of your comfort zone. You must make an effort because you never know where that conversation will lead to. Try to strike up new conversations during the course of your day. Do that each day. Some of these discussions will at some point lead to business opportunities. I know a young woman who followed this advice the first week she started her own consulting business. She went to a conference in her industry to do some networking, but had no idea where to start. It was breakfast, and she told herself that she would sit down at a table with someone she didn't know and strike up a conversation. She had just lost her job and was nervous about being in a new situation, in an unfamiliar city where she didn't know anyone. It turns out the man she sat next to was one of the planners for the conference. After they started talking, he said he was familiar with her former company, and he had heard about her success with a key project. One of the speakers of the conference panel had canceled that day, and he needed someone to take his place. He asked her if she wouldn't mind being a guest speaker, and if she could discuss the strategies that made her successful. This was the break she needed to get her consulting business started, just 1 week after she was laid off. Being a speaker at this prestigious conference gave her the credibility and connections to get her first big consulting contract with one of the world's largest companies. Think about how differently her life would have been if she didn't follow my focus principles and walk that extra step to talk to someone she didn't know. These situations are not just about luck. You have to make them happen. She went outside her comfort zone, got results. She took a small risk and got a big reward. Sales is all about risk. You must take a large risk to gain large rewards. Although, remember, the only difference between asking for a $10,000 sale and a $100,000 sale is zero. Just 1 0 more. So I want you to think about ways to set goals to find new people. Just tell yourself each day that you're going to make at least one new contact. Talk to at least one person you have never spoke with before to help you expand your network. That's not too much to ask. That person could be someone you meet anywhere. The father of one of the kids on your son's soccer team could own a business. Maybe he needs the supplies that your company is selling. The woman in line at the grocery store could be looking for a new contractor to do work on her house. The person in front of you at your place of worship could be in the market for a life insurance policy. If these people don't know you and they don't know what you offer, then you're missing an opportunity. A lot of people think they have something to lose when they try to sell an object. One thing to focus on is you have nothing to lose with a new prospect. When you walk into a room full of people, the worst thing that can happen is that you will find out they don't need what you're ultimately trying to sell them at this time. Remember, you had nothing when you walked in that room. You had a blank order book. The worst you can do with any encounter is break even. The best you can do is get a sale or lead or both. Whenever you get a sale, you always ask for 3 referrals. Think of every opportunity, every interaction as ways to help you make more money. Lose the fear and get the reward. There are many other ways to get leads. You may decide to purchase a mailing list. With people, you can send emails, direct mail, or call to discuss your products or services. List vendors are available that specialize in various products, markets, and industries. Test a group of the names of the list first before spending a lot of money to make sure the list broker has done some qualifying with these names. I recommend that if you decide to purchase names, you should try to focus your efforts on one industry sector at a time. For example, let's say you want to sell printing services. Think about which companies need printing services. Perhaps you start the list by marketing to real estate offices in a certain area. Then you might expand the list to include escrow companies and so on. Get to know one sector, market to that sector, understand the needs of that sector, join organizations, associations within that sector, then add another group. People in your network will refer business to you, and you can return the favor by referring clients to them. It's not just what you know, it's who you know. So get out there and get to know more people. As you call these people on the list, expect to get 20 hang-ups or so for every person that is willing to speak to you. That's the numbers game. If you get enough decent leads and you contact enough people, you will eventually close more business. The odds are in your favor. You had nothing when you started. All you can do is create leads and turn them into sales. I've seen great results with list brokers because they can help you target your customers. The more targeted and qualified the names, the more you'll have to pay for the names. A popular TV show just proved this point for us. It recently featured two teams who had to sell shirts designed by a popular artist. One team decided to sell the shirts at local boutiques at higher prices. Another team purchased a list of people who had bought items from the artist before. They sent out an email announcing that the t-shirts were now available. They offered the shirts at a lower price, but sold dramatically more shirts and made twice as much as the other team. Why? Because they sold to people who were familiar with the artist and wanted to buy something from the artist. They got a good email distribution list and targeted their efforts. Email lists can save you money because the broker has gone through certain steps to qualify the leads. There may be restrictions on the number of times you can use the list, and you should try to find out how often the list is sold. You don't want to be the fifth salesperson that day who contacted the person on the list. There's an old adage in business called the razor or the razor blade. Would you rather sell the razor or the razor blade? Well, the correct answer is the razor. Because once you sell someone a razor, they have to keep coming back to you for the razor blades because the razor doesn't work without them. What that is pertaining to is that when you sell a razor, you are creating a client that keeps coming back to you for more products. Work your existing base of customer for upgrades, new products, gifts, replacement parts, etc. It's no surprise that many companies sell most of their products to their existing customers. They're able to sell to them because they're satisfied customers. Satisfied customers buy more of their products and services and usually will provide referrals. So if you have an established group of customers, you should set aside time to nurture the relationships with them. Keep in touch and let them know when new products will be available and make them aware of special discounts. Give them a discount if they refer someone to you. One financial planner I know sends out newsletters about once a month to his customers. The newsletter covers important issues about trends in stocks and life insurance. He's part of a franchise and gets the information for the newsletter from his corporate office. He puts his picture on the cover with a brief personal message. That way it looks like the message is from him. His customers also feel like they're getting special value, extra information to help them make important buying decisions. Another strategy is to identify the top accounts in your industry and target them. Your competitors may have already been selling to these people, which means these accounts are qualified and the customers that need your product. You may have something new to offer them that they can't get from your competitor. And of course, go after the small accounts as well. Smaller businesses may be able to approve deals more quickly without having to go through as much paperwork. If you get enough of these deals, they can add up. So let's summarize what we said about FINE. Remember this: every encounter is an opportunity to sell and get a referral or lead. You have nothing to lose. You are walking in with nothing. You can only go up from there. Go the extra mile and talk to people in social situations. Take advantage of a network that you may not have realized existed. Use mailing lists when necessary to help get targeted customers. Think of your existing customers and what new products you can sell to them, as well as the people they know and they work with that they can refer you to. And try to give your customers something extra they don't expect. Step 2, organize. Now that we've covered what you need to do to find customers, I'd like to review the second part of the focus approach. O for organize. Don't worry if you're the unorganized type, because you can be successful in sales if you're not organized, but there is a catch. The catch is you need a well-organized assistant, and you will also need to know basic organization skills that I'm going to outline now. You probably know right this minute if you're one of those people that are organized or are highly disorganized. I'm going to cover what it takes to be prepared. This includes setting goals for success, developing your own mission statement, preparing for a sales call, researching the customer and the competition, developing processes and record keeping to make you more efficient and effective. These are either things you need to do or make sure your assistant is doing. So listen carefully and take notes. Goal setting is very important. If you don't identify what you want to achieve, then how are you going to make it happen? How can you make more money? That's why I always start out with goals. For example, let's say your goal is to keep $100,000 a year. Ask yourself, what do you get to keep after each sale, assuming that your expenses are paid for? Is it 10%? If so, that means that you will have to sell $1 million this year. With that in mind, figure out the average price of a sale. Let's say your product costs $10,000 each. Maybe you're selling high-end software and services for a company. Okay, so you make $1,000 whenever you close a $10,000 deal. That means you will have to close 100 deals a year, or about 2 deals a week, because you plan to take 2 weeks vacation a year. Then, figure out what your peak selling periods are. I am a strong believer to make hay when the sun shines. Sales cycles are just that. They go up and down. I personally will maximize a season when it hits. Have you ever noticed around the first of the year the tremendous amount of ads for weight loss products and gymnasiums? Marketers know that it is a key season and they gear up for it. That is a prime example of making hay when the sun shines. If you were to sell software, for example, most of your sales would happen at the end of each quarter. So take out a calendar and mark up where you should be in terms of sales each month based on the peak schedule for your industry. At the end of each month, assess what you need to do to meet your goal. It may mean that you have to call more prospects. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Or you could have to go back to existing customers and see if they need new products or services, or go out and find additional prospects. If you find that you're way off your target, then you need to look at how you conducted the past deals and analyze where your problems are. Maybe the mailing list wasn't very good. Maybe a competitor is offering a new product that's much better. Maybe the customer service isn't very good and your customers are no longer interested in your product. With this information, you can make educated decisions about your next step. And if you are doing better than your goals, then you may want to readjust them so that you can make and keep more money. That's the key. Some people like to have a mission statement as a personal motivator. Think about who you are and what you offer your customers. You're not just selling them a product, you're selling them something they need that will help them improve themselves or their businesses. If you're selling health club memberships, you're making it possible for people to get healthier and live longer. If you're selling software, you're enabling their companies to work more efficiently. If you're selling life insurance, you're giving people financial security for their families. You must feel passionate and believe in your product or service. If you are just doing it for the money, then eventually you will lose your enthusiasm. So maybe your mission statement is to sell people the best life insurance they need for their family, or to sell them a home that will be the best place for them to live. An acquaintance sold consulting services to support a product that he didn't believe in. Guess what? After several months and no sales, he realized it was the wrong business for him. He didn't take home any money. He just wasted time. So remember, if you're going to sell, believe in what you're selling. It supports the old premise of do what you love and the money will follow. Preparing for sales calls involves understanding the customer, the product, and the competition. I'll discuss some of this in more detail soon. But before you contact a customer, do your homework. Check the customer's website to find out about him and what he needs. Know what your competitors offer, check out their websites, and figure out why someone should buy from you instead of the competitor. Is it because you have a better product, better customer service, lower prices, good references? If you meet with a customer earlier, maybe you have an idea of what the customer is looking for so that you can be more prepared when it comes time to give a presentation. Here's a case where the most prepared realtor won the listing. Both of the realtors contacted my brother-in-law, who was selling his house. They both had the same commission rate and number of sales in the community. They were both well-established and had excellent referrals. His house needed some work to get it ready for sale, and he mentioned this to both realtors before they gave their presentations. He also mentioned that he was busy and didn't want to spend a lot of time fixing up the place. He estimated what he could spend to get the house ready and told the realtors. The first realtor gave a standard presentation, highlighting her listings and sales methods, and gave my brother-in-law some suggestions for getting the house ready for a quick sale. But she didn't recommend anyone or discuss the cost involved. The second realtor showed up with a comprehensive PowerPoint presentation that summarized her recent transactions and included a custom overview of what my brother-in-law needed to get the house ready for sale. It included a list of people who would manage the process for him, what the cost would be, and his involvement in the process. The realtor said she would make a staging contractor available to buy items to decorate the home and manage fixing up the interior. She found a landscaper who would take care of the yard and a painter who would paint the house. She had already contacted these people with dates of when they needed to be available to do the work before the appointment with my brother-in-law. The customer didn't have to do anything. The second realtor got the listing because she was prepared. In about 1 week, the interior and exterior of the home were brought up to spec, the house was put on the market, and it sold above the asking price in a matter of days. This realtor continues to send Christmas cards and letters to all of her former customers and stays in touch because she knows that these customers will have referrals for her, valuable referrals. Organizing for sales also involves following processes. So identify your process for calling on customers, sending written communication, following up, giving discounts, soliciting referrals, dealing with customers who pay their bills late, finding the right person to approach on a deal, and so on. For example, big companies have you meet with virtual team members who have no buying authority. These people may recommend that the company buys a product, but they can't authorize the purchase. You should identify a process for reaching these decision makers for those people. Maybe the process involves calling them into your meeting when you give a presentation. Maybe it requires preparing a packet that the customer's team members can give to the decision maker. Or if this is a big sale, you might need processes for when you take customers to lunch, invite them to special events, or provide them with incentives. Some customers can be very demanding, and they want more services without having to pay for them. Or they may want terms that are not profitable for your company. Know your processes ahead of time, and that will save you a lot of aggravation so that you can deal with these types of issues early on. Now I'm getting to the part of sales that most salespeople hate to deal with. It's record keeping. Yes, it takes time away from the next deal. You may hate to do paperwork like I do. It bothers me. I'd rather spend my time doing deals or golfing. But you can't avoid it. Without good record keeping, you limit your ability to sell. You miss important customer deadlines and opportunities. You lose the ability to leverage information that your customer might have told you about months before. Or you'll find you can't remember what you told a customer. Or you spend too much time looking for information that should be at your fingertips. It's too hard to find many messages stuck on those yellow Post-it strips or written in scraps of paper here and there. So there are a few tricks of record-keeping approaches, and what you use depends on your preference. Some people prefer the standard contact sheets that they keep in hard copy folders for each client. These sheets contain important information about the client, purchasing decisions, needs, dates, contacts, etc. This can work if you only have a limited number of contacts and accounts. Others prefer to use Excel spreadsheets. Once you have a broad list of customers and prospects, you should consider using a simple electronic CRM, Customer Relationship Management System. The software programs that are now offered are much less complex than they were years ago, so you don't have to spend as much time trying to figure out how to use the software and keying in a lot of unnecessary data. Also, if other people in your business interact with a customer, they can enter this information into a database that will be useful for you also. That way, when your customer calls, you know that they had a problem with customer service, you know that they just did an automatic renewal of their product, you know how much money they spent, and so on and so on. These systems are touted for giving a 360-degree view of the customer. They can provide tremendous insight. For example, If your customer contacted the service department because the product malfunctioned, you'd know that it wouldn't be a good time to call the customer about an exciting upgrade available to the product. I like using customer relationship management software because it provides me with reports to measure my sales and forecast. I prefer to use a combination of customer relationship management software and hard copy notes. So I keep a journal and I write down important things in my daily business journal and make also sure that information gets placed in the electronic system. Also, if I think of an idea about a deal while I'm driving or just during some downtime, I simply dictate it into my cell phone and play it back later so that I don't forget. Let's summarize what you should remember about getting organized. Set goals so that you measure your progress and stay on track. Develop a mission statement to keep focus. Walk into a sales meeting with a presentation that will help solve the customer's problems. Understand the processes you need to do business and be consistent with these processes. And develop a reliable, comprehensive system to keep your paperwork organized. You must be organized. However, a good assistant is worth their weight in sales. Okay, let's move on to the third element of the focus approach. Step 3. C for communicate. This is a particularly important section because sales is all about communication. I am going to show you how to communicate and connect with prospects and cultivate opportunities. This includes understanding the buyer's needs and wants and personalities. Just remember, no one likes to feel that you are selling them something. They may need something, but they usually buy it because they want it, and they have to come to that decision on their own. Communication is all about listening skills so that you can ask the right questions, bond with the client, and understand and react to body language. You must know when to talk and when to be quiet. And communication includes how to overcome the fear of the phone and leave the right voice messages, send the right emails, as well as know when it's better not to send or leave a message and wait for personal contact. So what's the best way to communicate and connect? I always try to find something in common before moving the conversation to business. If you're in someone's office, look at how they decorate the office. If there are pictures with them on the golf course or sailing, say something about those hobbies. If you golf, it's easy. If you don't, ask them where the best place is to go sailing. Even if you've never been sailing, you can always say that you're thinking about taking a trip sailing and seeing what it's like. People love to talk about themselves and their hobbies. Make sure you understand the person you're trying to sell. What's his job role and why is he interested in this product? Is it to save time for his team? Is it to help him do his job more effectively? Knowing these things about the customer can help you provide information based on the what's in it for me principle. The top reason that many salespeople fail is because they don't know enough information about their customers. They make false assumptions about what the customers want. Instead, they should ask a lot of questions and listen to the customer's answers. Ask open-ended questions and do lots of listening. A safe rule of thumb is not to ask any question you do not know the answer to. Don't ask questions you do not know the answer to. Another rule, you should not ask questions that can be answered with a no. Once your buyer is used to saying no, the word no seems to flow out of their mouth. Ask questions you know they're going to answer yes. In my business, we ask the same question over and over. Do you want to make and keep more money? It's always answered with a yes. How would you like to get your work done in half the time without sacrificing quality? Customer's going to say yes. Get them saying yes. Yes, yes, yes. Ask people to describe the problems they want to solve. Get the customer to do the talking and then listen to his requirements. Then show him how you can help solve his problem. An acquaintance wanted to purchase services for his daughter to attend SAT preparation classes. His daughter had test anxiety, so he thought it would be best if she got individual attention. He discussed this problem with a sales rep from a training course. Then he told the rep that he decided not to do the training with his company because it only offered group sessions. After listening to the problem, the sales rep said, "I understand you're concerned about test anxiety. That's why I think the group sessions will be better. Your daughter will be taking practice sessions in a real classroom environment, and this will help her get over anxiety. One-on-one training, which is more expensive, won't be like the real testing environment." That was all the rep had to say. He listened to the customer, dealt with the objections, and got the deal. You need to understand your customers' personality types so that you can find the best way to relate to them. There are various ways that people classify social styles. One of the most common is categorizing people as analytical, a driver, an amiable, or an expressive. Some people are a combination of these personalities, so identifying them can be tricky. An analytical person wants to weigh every option before making a decision, and they'll check with others just to make sure they made the right decision. So if you want to appeal to this type of person, use facts. Show reports about savings and testimonials about how your product or service help people. This person wants numbers. You can tell if someone is analytical. They seem indecisive and want all of the available information about your product and how it compares to the competition. An analytical person will go to 6 stores and various websites and check out all the options and prices before deciding on the best computer to buy. A driver just pushes forward and wants immediate results. He's not wishy-washy like the analytical type. He'll buy the right computer right on the spot without wasting time searching for the best price, but he will be abrupt. So cut to the chase with your sales pitch. When you meet with a driver, show him how he can get immediate results with your product or service. Explain the great service he'll get with this computer, how it can be productive from day one with the reports and information he needs. Explain how the computer can enable him to work wirelessly and securely from any location. And an amiable wants to make everyone happy, so he'll check with others in the office about their requirements for a computer before buying one. Appeal to his needs about wanting to be liked. If he buys this computer, he will be able to perform certain functions with it that are important to his management team. He'll be able to take this laptop home and work from remote locations wirelessly so that he can always reach anyone on his team. He doesn't need to know all the details about how the computer is better than the competition's. Like the analytical customer, he just needs to know how using this computer will help him make his management team happy. The expressive is outgoing and just wants to talk. This person will tell you all of the reasons why he needs certain features in a computer. He'll tell you all about his wife, what he had for dinner, and how well he played baseball last weekend. Listen, smile, make him think he's a great conversationalist, and then make him come to the conclusion that you're offering him a deal that he wants. Make him feel like he's your friend. Let him do most of the talking. Body language is so important in sales. And I'm talking about the customer's body language as well as your own. If you're giving a presentation and people have their arms crossed and an annoyed or disinterested look on their faces, you better shift your strategy soon. If they are tapping their pencils, closing their notebooks, it's a good sign that you're not reaching the audience. I was in a presentation where a consultant met with a group of high-level executives and started to give them a very elementary overview of what she was trying to sell them. She prepared a presentation that was far too basic for their needs. They looked like they were ready to throw her out of the room. After 10 minutes, one executive told her to leave. That was it. Now, how could she have handled this session differently? The woman knew the needs of the audience, but was determined to give them her canned presentation. But she should have noticed right away that the group was unresponsive. She should have put the presentation aside and just started to engage the audience. She should have introduced herself and why she was there, and then went around the room and asked these executives about some of the problems they were facing that she could help solve. Then she could have facilitated a discussion and addressed their needs. The woman was an expert in her field, but she did not listen and read the audience, and she did not pick up their nonverbal cues. If she had, she might have walked away with a great contract instead of being thrown out of the room. As a salesperson, your body language is very important as well. It starts with the way you look and dress when you make a presentation. When I meet with business executives in their office, I show up looking like $1 million. I wear my favorite suit, tie, belt, and shoes. I always keep an extra suit, tie, belt, and shoes at the office just in case I have an important meeting. If the shoes look worn or the tie is out of date, that isn't going to inspire confidence. If you sell to contractors or work in an industry where the dress style is much more casual, you may not need the suit and tie, but always dress one notch above the customer or prospect. You also have to be careful that your body language shows interest when a customer is talking. Turn off your cell phone. If you take some notes, just take a few and keep as much eye contact as possible. The customer is the most important person you will be with at that moment. Make him feel that way. So you better make him feel special. Don't clench your teeth, your fists, cross your arms, or do anything that can be perceived as negative. What about communication when you don't see a customer face to face? Many of you will have to do a lot of sales over the phone. If it's a cold call, that means you'll probably get hung up 20 times for every call that you get through. Don't get discouraged. Just keep calling, because each time you get someone on the phone who wants to talk to you, you will increase your chances of making a sale. And remember, you had nothing before you picked up that phone. Whenever I have to leave an important voicemail, I like to write it down and rehearse it before calling the person. I try to keep it concise and say something that I know will encourage the customer to call back. For example, if you're calling on a person who is a member of a health club and you want this person to purchase the services of a personal trainer, here's what you might say. Hi, Joe. This is Tom from the fitness center. When you were at the club last week, you mentioned that you'd be interested in a personal exercise program. We have a new personal trainer who just joined our staff and would like to meet with you. If you contact him by Thursday, he'll give you a consultation at no cost. This is an offer that Joe can't refuse. Once he consults with a trainer, then you can sell him on the personalized program. Just get the appointment first. That's your goal. I'd also like to say something about email communication. Some customers prefer to send you an email with their questions. Keep your answers brief. Respond to them immediately and leave the door open for an appointment or a phone call. For example, after you answer their question, say that you'd like to follow up with them by Tuesday to provide additional assistance. Ask them to provide a time that would be convenient for a brief call. And it goes without saying, be sure to spell check your communication. If you're not a good writer, have someone in your office proof the letter. If you don't have that luxury, then it's better to call the person than to send an email that could be considered sloppy. Be sure to follow up quickly after every sales meeting, even if you didn't close. This lets prospects know you are interested and that you are a professional. Send them a nice handwritten note on a classy-looking card and thank them for their time. Or send them some follow-up literature with a personal note, but mail it right away. So let's summarize important things about the need to communicate effectively. You need to find ways to bond with the customer, understand their social style, and respond accordingly. Be a good listener and watch body language. Don't give up on the phone calls. You have nothing to lose. Rehearse your voice messages and focus them on what the customer wants. Follow up with customers. Step 4. Understand. Now I'd like to talk about the fourth element of the focus approach to selling, and that's understand. In order to sell, you must understand the value of the product or service and the customer's needs, as well as be able to communicate it in terms that are easy to comprehend. I'm going to review ways to get the product and service knowledge you need. I'll help you to understand your competitive advantage. I'll discuss easy ways you can update your own skills. If you don't understand the value of your product or service, then you will never be able to sell it. That's why I mentioned earlier that you must believe in your product or service. If you're selling investments, you better believe in the portfolio stocks that you want your customers to buy. In fact, you should probably own some of them yourselves. If you're selling timeshares, make sure you think they are a great deal and in a great community. Otherwise, people will see through your pitches and you will fail. If you're trying to get customers to use your steam cleaning service, you better believe that your company uses the finest equipment and gets the job done well. There's nothing more difficult or unrewarding than trying to sell something that's second-rate and that you don't believe in. So once you feel good about your product and service, you need to learn more about it. If you have a marketing department, then read the literature they provide you. Ask for a briefing or demo and quick checklist of the advantages of your product. If they do research for you, then make sure they give you a competitive analysis of how your product or service relates to your competition. They should give you a profile of your typical customer, his wants and needs, and what he's willing to pay. This overview should highlight the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities of your product or service. Maybe your company is the first one to sell this product. Maybe it provides the best service. Maybe it offers a product that's the easiest one to use and maintain. Maybe it's the best value for the lowest cost. You need to know these things in order to sell and respond to customers' questions. Understand the promotions that are available and make your customers aware of them. Read magazines and newsletters to keep up with your industry and what other companies are doing. What if you don't have a marketing department to help you? What if you need to do this yourself? If you're starting your own business and you are your own sales, marketing, and operations department, then you've got extra work ahead of you, but you can still get the results you want. Let's say you decide to open a computer services company, and your model is based upon hiring contractors on an as-needed basis when customers call. Maybe you've checked out franchises and they are too expensive, or they just don't meet your requirements. You've also checked into purchasing existing companies, but they are also too expensive. So you decide to go at this alone, right? Wrong. You don't have to go at it alone. That's where mentoring comes in. Because once you discover how much more is possible and how much more profitable, lucrative, and successful you can become, you can get a mentor. Do you know how many ways a mentor can help you rapidly and very profitably make your dreams a reality? I used mentors growing up in my career, and now I've created a unique and customized mentoring program to fit needs like yourself. Mentoring helps people in a variety of strategic areas. My mentors have helped thousands of people just like you. If you look at how a great achievement is accomplished, of all the different methods of learning out there, there is only one that has a 100% success rate. And that's when you're either an apprentice or are being mentored and coached by someone who shares your vision, who has your best interest at heart, who won't let you off the hook, who can effectively challenge you, inspire you, compel you, excite you, and guide you to achieve all the actions necessary to make the growth, the success, the prosperity you deserve a reality. When you work with a mentor, you can ask your mentor, what were the secrets that they gleaned over 20 years of hard experience? The School of Hard Knocks, which is one of the most expensive schools there is. What a mentor does is it gives you speed. It stops you from the mistakes that take you down the wrong path, and you realize it's a dead end, and there's no way out, and you have to come all the way back down to where you were again to take up another route. And all that takes time. It takes effort. It takes money. It takes emotional strength. A mentor gives you the help you need to eliminate costly mistakes. If you want to ensure the utmost success, you need to have the advice of a mentor. I've seen a great deal of success as a mentor. I still get the call when a big-time CEO, famous actor, or up-and-coming business owner has an idea, and somehow they're convinced they need my personal advice to make their idea a reality. Those same wealthy celebrities know the power of mentoring, and some have paid fees for my strategic advice well over $1 million. Making millions and mentoring a mogul is financially rewarding. However, I get the greatest personal reward, and I feel the most successful when I've helped the average guy become a millionaire. For as little as a few $1,000s, the average guy can take advantage of my mentoring program. What's a shame is that the rich keep getting richer, because the rich understand that in order to become and stay wealthy, you need great advisors and mentors, and they will pay handsomely for it. Unfortunately, most average guys don't understand or haven't had the unique opportunity you now have in front of you to be mentored. Here is 2 recent mentoring stories. First, I received a call recently from a man. We'll call him Al. Al, approximately 6 months ago, had expressed interest in my mentoring program, and I had quoted him about $5,000 to get him to the next level. Al, who considered himself an expert in many areas, in fact, he boasted to me how he raised $5 million to get his idea off the ground so far. Funny thing, he raised $5 million, but he did not want to pay the $5,000 mentoring fee without a guarantee of a certain result. I can't, don't, and won't guarantee results, because in order to get to the next level, it's up to you to do certain things. And if you don't take that action, you won't get the result. Well, Al went forward without the help of a mentor and was calling me because, as he put it, quote, "I may be in big trouble, Bruce, big trouble." Well, he was in trouble. He was in big trouble. I told him it would take 10 to 20 times the mentoring effort now to clean up the mess he had made. The funny thing is, he was now willing to pay 20 times what I originally quoted him for coaching to help clean up the mess, but I turned him down. Second, I got a call today from a man, we'll call him Ed. Ed wanted to go to lunch and get caught up with me. The reason I mention this is Ed has the exact opposite story from Al. Ed came to me with an idea and a contract. He had little to no money, but he knew if he could get some help from me, he could get to the next level fast. Ed didn't have the money needed to be mentored. Ed took the information we had available on my mentoring program and went out and borrowed the money needed to pay his fees. Within 30 days, with the mentoring help Ed received, he now had 10 times the cash in his bank account that he had paid in coaching fees. Within 1 year, Ed was a millionaire. I love stories like Ed's. They bring me more personal satisfaction than any of my other accomplishments, and I learn from stories like Al's. You can tell I'm enthused about mentoring. Anyway, how are you going to understand the best way to reach your market? Well, first, you have to understand your market. What are the services you plan to offer, and what services are available within a certain radius of your target market? How many other companies offer this service? What do they charge? And how long have they been in business? You can probably hire a company to do a quick competitive analysis for you, and I recommend that before starting. So after you've identified the companies in your area and market, what can you offer to make someone want to purchase services from you? Price isn't always the difference in the service business. Sometimes it's quality or the ability to be available 24/7 to respond to a customer's needs. Sometimes it's just the ability to focus on one area of the business. So let's say you live in a suburban community of 30,000 people, and the number one business in the area is real estate. You notice that none of the computer consultants focus on that market. Yet your competitive analysis indicates that realtors rely most heavily on independent computer consultants. So you might want to specialize in providing services uniquely focused on the real estate business. That's how you sell. You know their requirements, and you are the most capable provider of services for that market segment. You know that they need 24/7 service and that your competitors only offer services during the week. Realtors are busiest on the weekends. You find that niche and you nurture it with service contracts. Then you join the Elks Club and various realtor associations. You visit their offices, get to know the people in the real estate offices who decide which computer company to call and focus on that market. You can sell better to that group because you're the only company that understands its needs and requirements. Understanding also applies to figuring out what the customer really wants. I already discussed the different social styles of customers and how to reach them. But sometimes customers really want something that they haven't even admitted to themselves. It's up to you to draw them out. For example, a car salesman told me this story. A woman came into his Honda dealership driving a used BMW. She told him that she was tired of the maintenance costs with a BMW, and she wanted something more affordable. She had driven BMWs and Mercedes for years. But now that she was putting her kids through college, she wanted to save some money and be practical. In fact, she just wanted a basic Honda. She didn't even want power windows, a leather interior, or anything except for front side airbags. He noticed that she was well-dressed, wore expensive-looking jewelry, and had a designer purse. It occurred to him that there was no way she could live without some of the features that she expected and that she could afford them. So first, he showed her the lower-end Honda and let her see what it included and what she was missing. When she found out that air conditioning wasn't standard, she asked to go up to the next level model. It still didn't have all the features she wanted, but it was within the price range she said she was willing to pay. He could tell she didn't want to settle for that model either. It was a big enough transition going from the BMW to the Honda. Then he showed her the top-of-the-line Honda with black leather interior, an enhanced CD player, sunroof, and a few other features that she wanted. It wasn't a BMW, and it cost a bit more than she planned, but when she saw all the new features, she felt she made the right decision. She wound up spending about $7,000 more than she indicated, but she still felt she got a bargain without having to compromise on anything except for the status of no longer owning a BMW. The point is, she asked for something she really didn't want. She was afraid that she didn't deserve to spend the money on what she wanted. And the salesman was able to figure that out and help her find the right car for her needs. So what have we learned about the understand element of the focused approach? It means you have to understand the product or service and the competition so that you can do more deals. You have to find out what makes your product or service better than anyone else's and believe in it. You need to understand your customer and know that sometimes the customer doesn't want to admit what he or she is really looking for. Maybe the customer feels guilty about spending extra money, and it's up to you to make them lose the guilt and buy your product. We are now at the fifth and last step of the focus approach. Sell. In this section, I'll discuss strategies for building confidence and helping to deal with and overcome the stress of rejection. This will help you focus on selling, negotiate your best deal, close a deal, and grow your business. I'll discuss ways to handle objections and look at some different approaches for selling your products and services. But first, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you this story. Here is one of the most important lessons I've ever learned in sales, and it cost me $1 million in one sale to learn. I had sold an out-of-state customer $1 million worth of products. That product had a 50% margin in it. There was a lot of paperwork involved in the sale. I had all the paperwork executed on my part and decided to put one of my executives on a plane to fly out of state and get the paperwork executed, pick up the check, and come back home. He met with the customer. The customer gave the executive the check and executed the paperwork. The deal was done. Time to celebrate? No. The check was good, and all the paperwork was in order. I called the executive and said, "Get on the next plane home, now." It was late. He asked if he could spend the night out of the state and fly back the next day. Reluctantly, I agreed. I figured he could still be back by the time the bank opened the next day. The client offered to have his son drive the executive to the airport the next day. Well, unfortunately, the client had had a heart attack and died that night. Now, the client's business was still in great need of my products. The client's son, however, called the executive and informed him he wouldn't be picking him up and asked the executive to take a cab to the client's office and meet with him since he was the new owner of the company. The deal fell apart. The lesson learned here is anything can happen in a deal or a sale. It has always been my policy since that incident that as soon as I close a sale, to get the check and get the heck out of there. Now, there's a way to do that without being rude, like explaining that you have a meeting to go to now and we'll be back next week to follow up with them. I have seen so many salespeople make the terrible mistake that after they make a sale, they keep talking. And next thing you know, they talk the buyer right out of the sale. Get the check and get the heck out of there. If you are confident, then your customers will want to buy from you. They will think of you as a winner, and everyone wants to do business with a winner. Earlier I mentioned that you need to have your own mission statement. Think about the value that you are going to bring to your customers. Think about the vision of what your product or service can do for them. You are solving your customers' problems. You are fulfilling your customers' emotional wants. You are making a difference for your customers. Be proud of what you do. If you have a slow month, think about what you did in the past to make things work. Remind yourself that you can sell, but you may need to work harder. You may need to call on more customers and figure that the more people you contact, the better your chances are of making a deal happen. I follow the ABCs of sales. That's always be closing. Do what it takes to always be closing. Ask for the sale. Don't take no for an answer. Sometimes people say they're not interested when they are interested, but you haven't shown them all the possibilities yet. That's when you need to think about objections and how you might respond to them. Prepare a list of objections that they might ask ahead of time and have those answers ready. A winner never quits and a quitter never wins. Build trust by asking your customer the right questions. Here's an example. You're selling a copy machine to Mr. Jones. He wants to purchase a high-end copier that produces 100 copies a minute, has a document feeder, collator, and can be purchased for $7,500. You can sell that to him for $7,500, but you get a bonus if you can exceed $7,500. Remember the words, if I can, because you will be using them a lot. If I can do this, will you buy? If I can do this, are you in a position to enter that agreement? By saying, if I can, you are basically getting someone to counter their own offer. You haven't made an offer yet, but you're getting them to make one. So you say to him, Mr. Jones, this copier can print 100 words a minute like you requested, but it doesn't have a collator. If I can add the collator, would it meet your needs? He says he also needs a document feeder. You go back and say, if I can add a document feeder, would you purchase the copier? At this point, you've given him all the feature he wants, but he hasn't committed yet. So you say to him, what do I need to add to this copier for you to purchase it? Now, you've removed all the objections, and the only thing left is price. He says to you, he only wants to pay $7,500. You tell him, with all of these requested options, the copier will cost $10,000. How soon do you want it delivered? He's interested, but that's way beyond his budget. So you ask him what he wants to pay, if you can deliver this tomorrow. He says he'll pay $7,500. Then you say to him, we can't sell it at that price, but I will check with my boss to see what I can do. I'll be right back. Minutes later, you return. I have great news. My boss has allowed me to knock off $1,500 so I can get this to you exactly how you want it for $8,500. That's a 15% reduction from list price and a great deal. All I need is your signature here. If he doesn't sign, you tell him, I know you only want to pay $7,500, which is a reasonable offer, but I can't sell the machine for that cost. Our quarter ends tomorrow, and if I can sell 2 more machines, I can make quota. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll find out if I can cut my commission and sell this to you for $7,950. That means you can buy this for more than $2,000 under list price, get exactly what you're looking for, and I'll have it delivered tomorrow. At this point, Jones is interested, and you've done your deal. In this last round with Mr. Jones, I showed you how you can close a deal based on features and price. What are some of the other things you can look for to help make a difference in getting a sale? Here are some other approaches that you can use after the customer has told you what he's looking for. The most common used approach is by benefits. Don't rattle off a bunch of features. However, tell your customers what the features can do for them. Why would someone care if they have an engine that's 8 cylinders instead of 6 cylinders? If you're selling a car, explain the performance benefits of an 8-cylinder engine over the smaller engine. Let them understand the benefit of the feature. Some salespeople will also compare themselves to their competition. It's better to concentrate on what your company is known for, its competitive advantage, rather than trashing the competition. For example, if your main competitor has a lower price but poor customer service, explain to your prospect why good customer service is so important. Then discuss the kind of service your company offers. Maybe it's the only one with 24/7 customer support. Maybe service is a free option. Some people sell on price, but price isn't always the most important factor to many customers. Price reductions are bonus benefits. Maybe there are rebates or discounts offered on a one-time only basis. You don't always buy things purely on price, and neither do your customers. In fact, if the price is much lower than the competition, people may even be skeptical of the value of what you're selling. Maybe the cheaper suit looks the same, but the fabric fades after it's been cleaned a few times. It's not really a bargain. Also, sometimes you have to make sacrifices to get the best price. I know I can save money if I buy my groceries at a major discount store in my area, but I don't want to wait in line about 15 to 20 minutes, and the store is so spread out, it takes much longer to find what I'm looking for. So I pay a little more and buy groceries at a smaller store where I don't have to wait. Price isn't everything. You get what you pay for. Then there's the extra value approach. Works very well. That's when your company throws in something extra. I know people who joined health clubs just because they provided daycare while others didn't, or who bought auto insurance for the family with one company because it offered them a discount for their teenagers who were drivers, or chose one eye doctor over another because the doctor was open on weekends. These are all extra value approaches that can make a difference. What happens if you try all these techniques I've discussed and the prospect still isn't interested? That's when you use my favorite closing technique, the takeaway. To the uninformed, the takeaway appears to be risky, something you could only do when you're rich. After all, who can just walk away from an important sale? If you feel like, of course, only rich, successful people like Bruce can use the takeaway because you can't afford to walk away from a deal, then the takeaway is working. You see, you have already told yourself, Bruce will walk away from a deal. I am threatening to walk away from nothing. Remember, this is the last resort. I have tried every means available to close the sale and haven't done it yet. I have nothing to lose by using the takeaway because I really don't have a deal anyway. I use the takeaway all the time. If you don't act now, the deal's gone. Now there be a reason that the deal is gone, like it's your last one. You have another buyer. You can only deliver so many a month, etc. You thank your prospect and you appreciate his time. If you're giving him a limited or unique offer is trying to sell a house, you remind him that there are many other buyers who are interested in that house. Pause and see what happens. The fact that you're not sounding desperate and that other customers are waiting for this deal may make him more interested. People want what they think they can't have. I love the adage that no one wants to be a member of a private club that would have them as a member. No one wants to be a member of a private club that would have them as a member. People want what they can't have, and they don't always want what they can. Try it and see what happens. Let's summarize what we've learned in the sales section. I discussed how to handle objections, and AB's always be closing. You learned about different sales approaches to use depending on the needs of the customer. You learned techniques that will help you make more money and, most importantly, close the sale, take the check, and graciously excuse yourself. I hope you enjoyed discovering how the focus approach has the potential to help you make the money you expect, just like it has helped me and many of the people that I have coached. I encourage you to listen to the C we will be providing you at the end of the seminar to refresh your memory about some of the important things you need to do to be successful in sales. Now, remember, learn how to listen. Listen to customers, your customers, and understand their needs. Follow my suggestions for finding potential business. Understand the value of the products and services you offer. Develop effective strategies for closing deals. Set your goals, be persistent, don't get discouraged, and always be closing. Remember those important words, if I can, and remember to focus, find, organize, communicate, understand, and sell. If you need more help, please visit my website at www.bruceaberman.com. I have a free question and answer form there where you'll find I receive and reply to a wide variety of questions, as well as I offer a select few individuals additional services like Bruce A. Berman personal mentoring. Did you catch what I just did? If you caught it, send me an email from the Ask Bruce link on www.bruceaberman.com. Thank you very much for attending the seminar.